بر محمد وآل محمد بلندر صلوات اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. عن جابر بن الله الأنصاري فاطمة الزهراء عليها السلام وبنت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله قال سمعت فاطمة أنها قالت دخل علي برسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله في بعض الأيام فقال السلام عليك يا فاطمة فقلت وعليك السلام. قال إني أجد في بدني ضعفا فقلت له يعوذ بالله يا بته من الساعة. فقال يا فاطمة ائتني بالكساء اليماني فغطني به فأتيته بالكساء اليماني فغطيته به وصرت أنظر إليه وإذا وجهه يتلألأ كأنه البدر في ليلة تمامه وكماله. فما كانت الساعة وإذا بولت الحسن كذاك بلا. فقال السلام عليك يا أمه فقلت وعليك السلام. يا قرتين وسمرت فؤادي. فقال يا أمه إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة جدي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله. فقلت نعم إن جدك تحت الكساء. فقال الحسن نهب الكساء. وقال السلام عليك يا جده يا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله. أتأذنني أن أدخل معك تحت الكساء. فقال وعليك السلام. يا بلدي يا صاحب حوزي قد أذنت لك فدخل معه تحت الكساء. فما كانت الساعة وإذا بولد الحسين كذاك بنا. وقال السلام عليك يا أمه فقلت وعليك السلام. يا بلدي يا قرتين وسمرت فؤادي. فقال يا أمه إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة جدي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله. فقلت نعم إن جدك وأخاك تحت الكساء. فتنا الحسين نهب الكساء. وقال السلام عليك يا جده والسلام عليك يا من اختاره الله وتأذن لي أن أكون معكما تحت الكساء. فقال عليك السلام. يا ولدي ويا شافي أمتي قد أذنت لك فدخل معهما تحت الكساء. فقال عند ذلك أبو الحسنين بن أبي طالب.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل.
وقال السلام عليك يا بنت رسول الله. فقلت وعليك السلام. يا أبا الحسن ويا أمير المؤمنين. فقال يا فاطمة ائتيني إني شمدت رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة أخي وابن أمي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله. فقلت نعم ها هو مع والديك تحت الكساء. فقال لي نهب الكساء. وقال السلام عليك يا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله أتذرني أن أكون معكم تحت الكساء قال له وعليك السلام يا أخي ويا بسي وخليفتي وصاحب لبائي قد أذنت لك فدخل لي تحت الكساء ثم أتيت نحو الكساء وقلت السلام عليك يا أبته يا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله أتذرني أن أكون معكم تحت الكساء قال وعليك السلام يا بنتي ويا بسأتي قد أذنت لك فدخلت تحت الكساء فلما اكتملنا جميعا تحت الكساء أهزا بي رسول الله بطرف الكساء وأومأ بيده اليمنى إلى السماء وقال اللهم إن هؤلاء أهل بيتي وحاستي وحامتي لحمهم لحمي ودمهم دمي يؤلمني ما يؤلمهم ويحزنني ما يحزنهم أنا أحب لمن حاربهم والسلم لمن سالمهم وأدعو لمن آذاهم ومحب لمن أحبهم إنهم مني وأنا منهم فجل صلواتك وبركاتك ورحمتك وغفرانك ورزقك علي وعليهم واذهب عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
فقال الله عز وجل يا ملائكتي ويا سكان سماواتي إني ما خلقت سماء مبنية ولا أرضا مدهية ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مزيا ولا فلك يدور ولا بحر يجري ولا فلك يسري إلا بمحبة هؤلاء الخمسة الذين هم تحت الكساء فقال الأمين جبرائيل يا ربي ومن تحت الكساء فقال عز وجل هم أهل بيت النبوة ومعدن الرسالة هم فاطمة وأبوها وبعلها وبنوها
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وأجل.
فقال جبرائيل يا ربي أتظنني أن أهبط إلى الأرض ليكون معهم سادسا فقال الله نعم قد أذنت لك فهبط الأمين جبرائيل وقال السلام عليك يا رسول الله العلي الأعلى يقرأ السلام يحسك بتحيتي والإكرام يقول لك وعزتي وجلالي إني ما هلكت سماء مبنية ولا أرضا مدهية ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مزيا ولا فلك يدور ولا بحر يجري ولا فلك يسري إلا ليجلكم ومحبتكم وقد أذن لي أن أدخل معكم فهل تأذنني يا رسول الله فقال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وعليك السلام يا أمين وحي الله إنه نعم قد أذنت لك فدخل جبريل معنا تحت الكساء فقال لي أبي إن الله قد أوحى إليكم يقول إنما يريد الله ليذهب عنكم الرجس وأهل البيت ويطهركم تطهيرا
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
فقال لي أبي يا رسول الله أخبرني ما لجلوسنا هذا تحت الكساء من الفضل عند الله فقال النبي صلى الله عليه وآله والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا واصطفاني برسالة نجيا ما ذكر خبرنا هذا في محفل من محافل أهل الأرض وفيه جمع من شيعتنا ومحبينا إلا ونزلت إليهم الرحمات وحفت بهم الملائكة واستغفرت لهم إلا تفرقوا فقال عليه السلام يزو الله فزنا وفاز شيعتنا ورب الكعبة فقال النبي فقال النبي صلى الله عليه وآله يا علي والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا واصطفاني برسالة نجيا ما ذكر خبرنا هذا في محفل من محافل أهل الأرض وفيه جمع من شيعتنا ومحبينا وفيهم مهموم إلا فرج الله هما ولا مهموم إلا كشف الله غما ولا طالب حاجتا إلا كزله حاجتا فقال علي عليه السلام يزو الله فزنا وستنا وكذلك عشيتنا فازوا وسعدوا في الدنيا والآخرة ورب الكعبة
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. جزاک اللہ خیر فضا. علی اور زینب آپ آ جاؤ بیٹا. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
جب ردا سر سے چڑی میں صدا دیتی رہی تو نہ آیا غازی. جب ردا سر سے چلی میں صدا دیتی رہی تو نہ آیا غازی. آل عمران نے کہا اور زندہ نے کہا یہ بہن قید ہوئی تو نہ آیا غازی. جب ردا سر سے چڑی میں صدا دیتی رہی تو نہ آیا غازی. ہم کو پانی نہ ملے تیری خوشبو تو رہے تیرے بازو نہ کہتے چاہے مشکی زاچے دے یہ مگر ہو نہ سکا تیرے بازو ہے جدا مجھ پہ تشے نہ لبی تو نہ آیا غازی. جب ردا سر سے چلی صدا دیتی رہی تو نہ آیا غازی. دھوپ میں تو دھوپ میں تو تجھ سے آباد تاگر ہے برہنا میرا سر کیا نہیں تجھ کو خبر. علم دار وفا اس بہن کو بخدا تجھ سے دارشتی بری تو نہ آیا غازی. جب ردا سر سے چلی میں صدا دیتی رہی تو نہ آیا غازی. آ گئے شام علم لٹ کے اہل حرم रेत पर चलती हुई हो गया तंदारम फुर्सत देने के लिए मुझसे मिलने के लिए आ गई पापड़ी तू न आया हाजी जबरदा से चुनी मैं सदा देती रही तू न आया गाजी क्या कहूँ शेर मेरे बेरे दामन को लिए ये मुसलमान सारे शहर दिल शहर गए खिलकते खूफा के लिए खिलकते शाम कभी और रहा हम बेहसी तू न आया गाजी जबरदा से चली वे सदा देती रही तू न आया गाजी दरगाने में कज़ा जब सकीना को मिली देख करते बच्ची दफनाई गई उस गरीना मत तेरा सूरत ना तेरी दुख में दोहराती रही तू न आया गाजी जबरदा से चुनी मैं सदा देती रही तू न आया गाजी रोया रेहान कलम ये बात रकम खूह में डूब गया मेरे गाजी का अलम ज़ैनब का जिगर खूफ शाशा का सिर आई खैमों तू न आया गाजी जबरदा से चुनी मैं सदा देती रही तू न आया गाजी सलावत
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajal farajun. Bismillah, jazakallah. Ali beta, are you on?
Assalamu alaikum. Is that my Ali?
That's your Ali.
Oh, okay, I'll call him just.
For Muhammad wa ali Muhammad blantar salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajal farajun.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam, beta. Are we going to see your beautiful face? Did you turn your camera on? Oh, mashallah.
Sinara Hedri.
Ya Ali, sadke, bismillah.
Kubaku, 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 jera, 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 jera. Alhamdulillah. Jera jera lito. Nay. Ore jannat da apadana. Ina na na alina. Kupaku. Na 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 alina. Nara. Hey, Dari.
Yeah, Ili, मैं सच्चे, that was so cute. Yeah, Ili, bless you.
Salamat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajah. You are so cute, mashallah. And you read so nicely, and we love listening to you. May you continue to
Thank
listen like
you.
Oh, bless you. Thank you so much, Ellie. Okay, if we can have a loud salawat, please. Allah salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajah. Thank you. Azhar.
Salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ajil farajah.
झूम झूम बाजार करीब आया ज़ैनब को गाज़ी याद आया झूम झूम बाजार करीब आया ज़ैनब को गाज़ी याद आया हाथों से या फिर बालों से चेहरे पानी शहजादी ये शाम शहर की गलियां है दिल तामने आका साथी फिजा ने जब ये बतलाया ज़ैनब को गाज़ी याद आया झूम झूम बाजार करीब आया ज़ैनब को गाज़ी याद आया माहौल शराबी जब देखा बाबा की वसीयत याद आई कोई तो मुझे चादर ला दे होठों पे यही फरियाद आई जब कोई नहीं चादर लाया ज़ैनब को गाज़ी याद आया झूम झूम बाजार करीब आया ज़ैनब को गाज़ी याद आया सलावत
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. I think everybody's obviously tired. Their voices out over the last few days. Alhamdulillah, Bibi sabka pursa kabul kare. Babi Jan, can you hear me? Babi Jan, can you unmute your mic?
Sorry, can you hear me now?
We can. We can all recite
sorry.
aloud salawat.
Allah
Allahumma salli ala
salli ala
Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil. Bismillah.
Bismillah. Just to say a few words about Bibi Zainab alayhi salam and what happened to them. I'm just trying to find it. I just had it a minute ago. Here we are. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So this is about when the Bibis and the children arrived in Damascus. So when they reached the outskirts of Damascus, they were made to halt. Yazid was informed of their arrival, and he fixed a date several days down the line for the entry into the city. On the morning of the appointed day, they were led into Damascus, the family of the Holy Prophet, the ladies and children, tied with ropes and herded together like goats. If anyone stumbled, she was whipped. The city streets had been decorated and the sound of music filled the air. People came out in throngs wearing festive clothes and rejoiced when they saw the procession, preceded as always by the heads of the martyrs. Bearing themselves with dignity and self-respect, the prisoners were paraded through Damascus. One quote that Hazrat Zainab was made to him. So an enemy, the son of an enemy of the Prophet, who had waged war with Imam Ali salam, he was amongst the crowds. And when he saw the Imam Zain al-Abidin salam, he jeeringly asked him who was now victorious. And in reply, the Imam said, if you wish to find out who has been victorious, do so when it's time for prayer and the azan and the iqamat are recited. And in this manner, the captives were paraded until the afternoon when they reached the palace of Yazid. And then he was seated on his throne and was very pleased that he had the 44 bound captives in front of him. The head of Imam Hussein was struck, landed on the Dushman of Islam,
Beshmar.
Ishman, and he struck the Imam's teeth with his stick, landed Beshmar, and
Beshmar.
said, O Hussein, you've paid the price of your revolt. And when Zainab saw this, and her companions saw this show of arrogance, they burst into tears. And there were many who were present who were ashamed of Yazid's actions. And he said to his subjects, my ancestors who were killed at Badr have been avenged today. Now it is clear that the Bani Hashim had just staged a play to gain power, and there was never any divine revelation. However, Zainab alayhi salam was not afraid. She drew herself up and boldly said for all to hear. And remember, because of her parda, Allah kept her parda, and He gave her not her own voice, but her Imam Ali alayhi salam's voice. And this is part of the sermon that she delivered. Praise be to Allah, the Lord of the worlds, and blessings on my grandfather, the chief of divine prophets. O Yazid, Allah says, and His word is true, that then evil was the end of those who did evil, because they rejected the communications of Allah and used to mock them. So this is in the Quran. And then she continues, O Yazid, do you believe that you have succeeded in closing the sky and the earth for us, and that we have become captives just because we have been brought before you in a row, and that you have secured control over us? Do you believe that we have been afflicted with insult and dishonor by Allah, and that you have been given honor and respect by Him? You've become boastful of this apparent victory that you have secured, and you have started feeling jubilant and proud over this so-called prestige and honor. You think that you have achieved worldly good, and that your affairs have been stabilized, and that our rule has fallen into your hands. Wait for a while. Do not be so joyful. Have you forgotten Allah's saying, the unbelievers should not carry the impression that the time allowed to them by us is good for them. Surely we give them time so that we may increase their evil deeds, and eventually they will be given insulting chastisement. O son of freed slaves, is this your justice, that you keep your own daughters and slave maids veiled, while the daughters of the Prophet of Allah are being paraded from place to place, exposed? You've insulted us by unveiling our faces. Your men take us from town to town, where all sorts of people, whether they be residents of the hills or the riversides, have been looking at us. They've been casting their glances at us while our position is such that there is no male relative of ours to render us or help us, support us. O Yazid, whatever you have done proves your revolt against Allah and your denial of His Prophet and of the book and the Sunnah of the Holy Prophet brought from Allah. Your deeds should not cause amazement, because one whose ancestors chewed the livers of the martyrs, whose flesh grew up on virtuous people, who fought against the chief of divine prophets, who mobilized parties by fighting against him and drew swords against him, should conspicuously excel all prophets in unbelief, sinfulness, excesses, and enmity against Allah and His Prophet. Remember that all the evil deeds and the sinful actions you have committed are the result of unbelief. One who casts his glance of enmity, malice, and rancor upon us does not lag behind in practicing enmity against us. He proves his unbelief, declares it with his tongue, and jubilantly proclaims, I have killed the sons of the Prophet of Allah and made his progeny captive, and wishes that his ancestors had lived to see his achievement, and to have proclaimed, O Yazid, may your hands not lose their strength. O Yazid, you are striking the lips of Imam Hussein with your stick in front of the crowd, while these very lips used to be kissed by the Prophet of Allah, and yet your face reflects pleasure and happiness. By my life, by killing the chief of youths of paradise, the son of the chief of Arabs, and the shining son of the progeny of Abdul Muttalib, you have deepened our wound and uprooted him completely. By killing Hussein ibn Ali alayhi salam, you have gained nearness to the state of your unbelieving ancestors. You proclaim your deed with pride, and if they were to see that, they would approve your action and pray that Allah may not paralyze your arms. If, O Yazid, if you had heart enough to take account of your nefarious deeds, you surely would wish your arms to be paralyzed and severed below your elbows, and you would not wish that your parents had given birth to you, because you would know that Allah has become displeased with you. O Allah, grant us our rights and avenge those who have oppressed us. So that's just part of it. But I'll end there. Salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajal farajah. It is truly heartbreaking.
I mean, I can't portray, anything of the horror of what they faced, and the sadness that they had, and how Bibi Zainab said these words. We can only imagine. We have to use our imagination.
Just the Islam that we have today, we have because of Bibi Zainab Salamullah Alaiha and her struggles. And this is something that we as women should take. This is like such a massive point of honor for all of us, that we are the followers of Bibi Zainab Salamullah Alaiha, who literally has saved Islam, because obviously the sacrifices made by Imam Hussein Islam undoubtedly saved religion, but if anyone has brought that message across to the masses, it was Bibi Zainab Salamullah Alaiha and her effort. So we are eternally grateful to Bibi for bringing us that message and showing us how powerful women can truly be. And we absolutely, in this day and age, and I feel that we have the same struggle, the way things are going for us women to say, okay, we need to educate our children, our daughters, especially our daughters, and it's just so important, so they know who we truly are the followers of. And we are so blessed, alhamdulillah, that we have such amazing role models from Karbala from the younger generation, like from the babies all the way to the elderly. There is a role model for every single person in the world to say that this is how you act, this is how you react in a situation, this is how you deal with conflict. So we are so blessed that we have so many messages, and obviously in the coming majlises, I think it's going to be quite important if we can highlight some of those, inshallah, which we will do. But this is just baby steps that we continue to take, and may Bibi and Mola help us in this little endeavor, inshallah. So
Inshallah.
inshallah, if we can all recite a loud salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. Inshallah. Obviously the times in Pakistan, and it's the majlises that continue during the day. So with most of I think we've just got Khadija and Shani Zara today from Pakistan. So from tomorrow, inshallah, the majlis time will be changing to accommodate all our reciters from Pakistan. I realize everybody's absolutely exhausted from yesterday, and it just makes you think that we did as a Dari for 10 days, Matam Dari for 10 days, and you go with the Julus and stay late till Sham Maghriba. And most of us feel absolutely shattered. And you've got to think that Bibi Zainab Salamullah Alaiha witnessed all this with her own eyes. She stood there She watched her brothers being martyred. She watched her nephews being martyred. She watched her sons being martyred. And she watched the little children being trampled. She saw all of this, and the thing that was most precious to her, her parda, that was taken from her after witnessing all that. And then after listening to Shama Griban, we've come home shattered and we've all gone to sleep. And her test began after Shama Griban. And she becomes Hazrat Abbas alayhi salam. She's there, she's guarding the younger ones, the orphans, the widows, and she's saying to them, don't worry, Zainab is here. Zainab has become Abbas now, and I'm here. And Bibi's test is just beginning. So if you can imagine, just after 10 days, and everybody's exhausted, the children's voices, they're just not being able to recite. And we think, oh, okay, we've done our 10 days. And I cannot get my head around what Bibi Zainab Salamullah Alaiha today, especially, because this is when her 1,400-mile journey begins. And obviously, Babi Jan's narrated a little bit of what's happening when they get inside Damascus, but it was literally a parade everywhere they went. The heads were on the spears, and they were literally saying that we've killed the rebel, and it was a party atmosphere, absolute party atmosphere for all of them to say, we've conquered, we have done all this, and it is heartbreaking to think what Bibi must have been going through, still trying to give the other Bibis their strength, to say it's okay, we have a mission and we need to do this. But it is just absolutely heart-wrenching, absolutely heart-wrenching. So going back to Pakistan times, obviously we've lost quite a lot of people. So from tomorrow, inshallah, I will confirm as to what time exactly the Majlis will be, but it's most likely to be in the afternoon, around about 4 p.m. UK time. So it'll be 8 p.m. Pakistan time, inshallah. But I will confirm, and I'll circulate a message so we know what time that is. So if we can recite a loud salawat, please. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Smeen Baji, you're on.
Allahumma
Salli
salli
ala
ala.
Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
I just want to continue with what you said, because in these times, a lot of women are struggling with having even basic, rights and respect. And in our religion, it was just saved by the females of Ahl Bayt who
Absolutely.
stood, after losing everything, they stood in front of the tyrants and gave speeches and raised their voice, which is very important for our daughters to know, that your
Absolutely.
voice, parda is very important, but you don't lose that parda if you're standing against tyrants and speaking out, because a lot of women are told that you should be silent. But I think speaking out, if even on small things around us, is our jihad.
You're absolutely right. And if anything, if we've learned anything, and even before Bibi Zainab Salaam times, we obviously the story of Fadak and what happened, and Bibi went and asked for her haq, knowing that she wasn't going to get it. This was the other thing that we need to understand. Bibi knew that she was not going to get her right. But it showed us that when you know that you're in the right, you need to make a stand. You need to stand up and you say, this is my right and I need it. Whether you get it or not, it's still our absolute right to demand it. And that is something, you're absolutely right, that is very much a cultural thing. It's not a religious thing. Islam has given women so many rights, so many rights, to the point if a mother breastfeeds her child, she can ask her husband for payment. Now,
I know, yeah.
When we talk about, Muslims and Muslim ladies, a lot of people just always automatically assume, though, women are being oppressed and they're doing this and doing that. But nobody actually realizes that Islam gave women rights 1,400 years ago, when women, babies that were born, females were actually being buried alive.
So yes,
That's when Islam came into being. And Islam empowered women to such a strength where your heaven is beneath a woman's feet, the mother's feet. That's where the heaven lies. And when you marry someone, they say your deen is now complete. You had half a deen, now it's completed. And there are so many hadiths when the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, and his holy progeny, has like literally lifted two of his fingers and said that any man who is responsible for providing for 3 women, so it could be daughter, sister, auntie, mother, whoever, and he lifted 2 fingers and said that in Jannah he will be with me like this. Now that, you know, is absolutely amazing that he has given so much power to women.
Yes.
And I think a lot of the time when we talk about our rights in the Western sense, that we lose our identity because Islam has given us way, way, way more than the West ever could. The
I
West
know, yes.
cannot even dream of giving us the rights that Islam has given us.
I know you're absolutely right about the culture, and what 10th Muharram signifies is that the men fought and they gave their lives. But the women, after losing their loved one, their sons, I mean, mums of Karbala are an inspiration for every woman alive.
Absolutely.
Because burying your child and then standing up for God, that I think just defines, that is the message. That you can't, for God, you just need to keep going, even if you're alone in chains. And
absolutely, they've literally lost every single thing precious to them, and in the most horrible and horrendous way we cannot even imagine. And I know when they recite Masa'ib, and you know, we're constantly told that we cannot give the details of exactly how things happened because they were just so horrible and so unimaginable. And to think that they witnessed all that, you know, you just lose one member of your family, a brother. I mean, I've had dealt with grief, you know, grief myself, and I've lost my mom and my dad and my brother, and just even losing one of them, your whole world is upside down. You feel like you cannot function. It's like, how am I going to survive? And the pain is so intense. And you've got to remember all this happened literally in a few hours. I know I saw a time scale of when it actually happened. It literally must have been about 2 to 3 hours that all these people were martyred in. And they lost one after another, after another, after another, up to the point where there was no man left apart from Imam Zainab al-Islam. Nobody. And he obviously was ill. He was not able to support Bibi Zainab Islam. In fact, she's the one that carries him out of a burning camp, puts herself at risk, Baby Muhammad as we have it today. So it just shows that the strength that they had was absolutely, and that was for the will of God, and everything they did, everything, it was Alhamdulillah, thank you Allah for blessing us. And none of us can imagine that you go through so much pain and then you thank Allah for it. You know, you're in constant state of thankfulness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that is something that obviously, you know, it's impossible for us to have that kind of taqwa and iman. Would like to hope that we can get near to it, be a shadow of it. But that is amazing that they had such strength that even in such dire circumstances, that they were thankful. That you've accepted our sacrifice, you've accepted our qurbani, you've given your children, and instead of crying for them, you're thanking Allah, that thank you for giving me the opportunity to sacrifice my sons for Islam, and I've given them a sadaqah. And it's narrated in history that Bibi Zainab Islam doesn't mourn her sons. She's saying, I gave them a sadaqah for my brother. And when you give sadaqah, you don't refer to it, you don't talk about it, it's just given. And that kind of strength and love is unimaginable. You know,
truly, yes.
To have that absolute belief that, yes, I've done this, I've given them in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that is it. Thank you, Allah, for accepting my qurbani. Anybody else, I mean, we as mothers, our children can have a little fall, and हमें लगता है कि हमारा दिल फट जाएगा कि वो हमारे बच्चों को लग गई है, हमारे बच्चों को तकलीफ हो गई है. And for them to sacrifice them and not even for a second think, you know, oh, what have I gone through, or to grieve about it, but to be thankful. And that is something that we should all aspire in our lives, that every little thing that happens is a reason for it. So even when things seem as, you know, they're going wrong for us, they're not. There's a reason behind why it happens. And we always need to be thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to say, okay, we know you've done this. You love us 70 times more than our mothers. and whatever is happening will be for the best. And that is something that we do need to instill, especially in the younger ones. And the way with social media, everything that's going, and sometimes you lose sight of the real things, the bigger problems or whatever, and sometimes they can get bogged down with it. But that is something I think as mums that we do need to instill into our children, that whatever happens is for a reason,
Yes.
and be thankful for it. Inshallah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No. May Allah give all the mums the strength and the honor of raising children who will become one day
Inshallah.
the followers of Ahlul Bayt. Ameen.
Inshallah.
So loud salawat for all future
Allahumma
generations.
salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Bismillah.
بانو کہاں تلاش کریں اپنے لال کو بانو کہاں تلاش کریں اپنے لال کو جنگل میں مار ڈالا ہے زہرا کی آل کو بانو کہاں تلاش زینب کے ساتھ روتی ہیں سب مل کے بیویاں زینب کے ساتھ روتی ہیں سب مل کے بیویاں جب دیکھتی تھی روز وہ وقت زوال کو بانو کہاں تلاش شبیر لا رہے ہیں میدان سے دیکھیے شبیر لا رہے ہیں میدان سے دیکھیے اپنے ضعیف کاندھوں پہ 18 سال کو بانو کہاں تلاش شبیر دل کو تھام کے غش کھا کے گر پڑے شبیر دل کو تھام کے غش کھا کے گر پڑے دیکھا جو خون میں غرق نبی کے جمال کو بانو کہاں تلاش شبیر میرے پاس ہے صدقے کو بس یہی شبیر میرے پاس ہے صدقے کو بس یہی جھولے سے لا کے دے دیا بانوں نے لال کو بانوں کہاں تلاش اللہم صلی
صلی علی
علی
محمد وعلى محمد وعجل فرجه. MashaAllah, MashaAllah. It was beautifully recited. یہ بھی قبول کریں انشاءاللہ. انشاءاللہ. خدیجہ بیٹا، شاہنظارہ آپ کو آواز آ رہی ہے میری؟
جی آ رہی.
جی بسم اللہ. محمد وعلى محمد لنتار صلوات. اللہم صلی علی محمد وعلى محمد وعجل فرجه.
بھائی محمد والی محمد صلوات.
اللہم صلی علی محمد وعلى محمد وعجل فرجه.
نعرہ تکبیر،
اللہ اکبر.
نعرہ رسالت،
یا رسول اللہ.
نعرہ حیدری،
یا علی.
حیدری،
یا علی.
حسینیت،
زندہ باد.
یزیدیت،
مرد آباد.
اہل بیت کے دشمنوں میں لعنت،
بے شمار.
لعنت،
بے شمار.
بلندتر صلوات.
اللہم صلی علی محمد وعلی محمد وعجل فرجہ. بسم اللہ.
رشک مریم ناز سارا سیدہ، مصطفیٰ کے دل کا پارا سیدہ. رشک مریم ناز سارا سیدہ، مصطفیٰ کے دل کا پارا سیدہ. ہم کو یہ معلوم ہے جنت میں بھی، ہم کو یہ معلوم ہے جنت میں بھی، آپ ہی کا ہے اجارہ سیدہ. مصطفیٰ کے دل کا پارا سیدہ. رشک مریم ناز سارا سیدہ، مصطفیٰ کے دل کا پارا سیدہ. حوصلہ زینب کا اللہ غنی، حوصلہ زینب کا اللہ غنی. آ گئی جیسے دوبارہ سیدہ، مصطفیٰ کے دل کا پارا سیدہ. رشک مریم ناز سارا سیدہ، مصطفیٰ کے دل کا پارا سیدہ. روٹیوں پر آپ کی ہے آج تک، روٹیوں پر آپ کی ہے آج تک. عرش والوں کا گزارا سیدہ، مصطفیٰ کے دل کا پارا سیدہ. بھائی محمد والی محمد صلوات.
اللہم
اللہم
صلی علی
صلی علی
محمد وعلی.
وعلی محمد وعجل.
آتے آتے آپ کے دربار تک، آتے آتے آپ کے دربار تک، بھر گیا دامن ہمارا سیدہ، مصطفیٰ کے دل کا پارا سیدہ. دونوں عالم میں نہیں جس کی مثال، دونوں عالم میں نہیں جس کی مثال، ایسا کنبہ ہے تمہارا سیدہ، مصطفیٰ کے دل کا پارا سیدہ، رشک مریم ناز سارا سیدہ، مصطفیٰ کے دل کا پارا سیدہ، گھر میں ہے در کے ہوا جلوہ فغن، گھر میں ہے در کے ہوا جلوہ فغن، تیری قسمت کا ستارہ سیدہ، مصطفیٰ کے دل کا پارا سیدہ، بادشاہوں نے تیری اولاد سے، بادشاہوں نے تیری اولاد سے مانگا بخشش کا سہارا سیدہ، مصطفیٰ کے دل کا پارا سیدہ، رشک مریم ناز سارا سیدہ، مصطفیٰ کے دل کا پارا سیدہ، بلندتر صلوات۔
اللہم صلی علی محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجہ۔ ماشاء اللہ
محمد والی محمد صلوات۔
اللہم صلی علی محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجہ۔
تیرا سینہ نہیں لبدا بابا میں رل گئیاں، او تیرا سینہ نہیں لبدا بابا میں رل گئیاں، اونج لتھے ہوئے دور میرے، اونج لتھے ہوئے دور میرے، تے کڑونا بھول گئیاں، ہاں تیرا سینہ نہیں لبدا بابا میں رل گئیاں، تیرا سینہ نہیں لبدا بابا میں رل گئیاں، بابا میں کشام دے لوکاں نے تیرے بعد کنیزی وچ منگیا، بابا میں کشام دے لوکاں نے تیرے بعد کنیزی وچ منگیا،
میں غیرت سیدہ دی، میں غیرت سیدہ دی، او ویلے مر گئیاں، تیرا سینہ نہیں لبدا بابا میں رل گئیاں، تیرا سینہ نہیں لبدا بابا میں رل گئیاں،
جدا گل تیرے ضرباں چلیاں میں کول کھلو کے ویندی، جدو گل تیرے ضرباں چلیاں میں کول کھلو کے ویندی رہی،
نہیں ملے اثر تیرا، نہیں ملے اثر تیرا، ترلے کر دی رہیاں، تیرا سینہ نہیں لبدا بابا میں رل گئیاں، تیرا سینہ نہیں لبدا بابا میں رل گئیاں،
جدا وکھری قید دا حکم ہویا میں کو کلیاں تنگ زندان دے وچ جدا وکھری قید دا حکم ہویا میں کو کلیاں تنگ زندان دے وچ
انج روندی میں ٹریاں انج روندی میں ٹریاں قیدن میں بھول گئیاں تیرا سینہ نہیں لبدا بابا میں رول گئیاں تیرا سینہ نہیں لبدا بابا میں رول گئیاں
دیتا پہلا پوری سامک تلے وچ میں کچھ مر لئی یتیم دا دیتا پہلا پوری سامک
مکے تلے وچ میں کچھ مر لئی
یتیم دا
انج ظالم ہتھ چایا انج ظالم ہتھ چایا میں خاک تے جھڑ پیاں تیرا سینہ نہیں لبدا بابا میں رل گئیاں تیرا سینہ نہیں لبدا بابا میں رل گئیاں انج لتے ہوئے دور میرے انج لتے ہوئے دور میرے تے کورونا بھول گئیاں تیرا سینہ نہیں لبدا بابا میں رل گئیاں صلوات
اللہم صلی علی محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرج. Thank you. جزاک اللہ خیر بیٹا. آپ نے ابھی غائب نہیں ہونا ہے. زیارت آپ نہیں پڑھانی ہے. Obviously, I'm just a little bit lost because I don't have any of my people normally doing dua. So we'll just do a simple little dua ourselves. That first of all, Bibi Salamullah Alaiha accept all our ibadats. The very little that we've said or we've recited, may they accept. All our children, mashallah, may they continue on this path of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. It, especially in this day and age, it's not an easy thing to do. So kudos to all the moms who are trying their best. May Mullah help and guide them in every way to help them do that, inshallah. A prayer for all marhumeens, especially those who have no one to pray for them. May Allah forgive all their sins and grant them the highest ranks in Jannah al-Firdaus. All those that have done Azadari in the past 10 days and will continue to do so. And I know yesterday there was scorching heat in Pakistan. And may Mullah bless all the Matmis that came out in their masses to give Bursa to Bibi and to do Azadari. May they continue to do so, inshallah. And help all those who are in need. All those that have asked us to pray for them. May Mullah accept our prayers in that sense. May Mullah hasten the appearance of our Imam of our time. If you can all recite a loud salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajah. Matwaja ziyarat.
بسم اللہ الرحمن الرحیم السلام علیکم یا رسول اللہ ورحمۃ اللہ وبرکاتہ السلام علیکم السلام علیکم یا محمد عبداللہ السلام علیکم یا خیارت اللہ السلام علیکم یا حبیب اللہ السلام علیکم یا صفات اللہ السلام علیکم یا ابن امیر المؤمنین السلام علیکم ورحمۃ اللہ وبرکاتہ اللہم صلی علی محمد
wa ali Muhammad.
السلام علیکم یا ابا عبداللہ السلام علیکم یا ابن رسول اللہ السلام علیکم یا ابن امیر المؤمنین وابن سید الوسیین السلام علیکم یا ابن فاطمہ الزہراء سیدات النساء العالمین ورحمۃ اللہ وبرکاتہ اللہم
Salli ala
Muhammad wa ali
السلام علیکم یا غریب الغرباء السلام علیکم یا معین الضعفاء والفقراء السلام علیکم یا انیس النفوس بیارض توس السلام علیکم یا مدفون بیارض توس السلام علیکم یا علی ابن موسیٰ رضا ورحمۃ اللہ وبرکاتہ السلام علیکم ورحمۃ اللہ وبرکاتہ Allahumma salli
Salli
ala
ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Assalamu alaikum ya sahib al-asri wa zaman al-aman 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 min fitna al-zaman. Assalamu alaikum ya sharik al-Quran. Assalamu alaikum ya khalifat al-Rahman. Assalamu alaikum ya Nisan. Assalamu alaikum ya Imam al-Insi wa Jan. Ajjalallahu ta'ala faraja wa sahhalallahu mahraja. Wa zuhuruka ya Mawla ilahi amin. Wa zuhuruka ya Mawla ilahi amin. Wa zuhuruka ya Mawla ilahi amin.
Ilahi Ameen.
Allahi wa barakat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali.
Jazakallah khair. I know there was very limited of us, but we only need one to do the zikr. If there's one listening and one doing it, alhamdulillah, that we would consider the fact that we were honored to be able to do that. So thank you so much for everyone reciting today. Mola do bhi aapko hajr azim ata farmaye. Okay, jazakallah khair.
Ameen.
Jazakallah khair.